So the problem statement for tuberculosis, we know we are dealing with an infection that is destroying the bone, causing instability and deformity, probably some neurological compromise in some cases. And then we are also dealing significantly now with, as time is passing, with drug-resistant bugs. So far we are treating surgical treatments for like open surgeries, but as somebody, my colleague talked about, minimally invasive. And nowadays we are able to treat such patients, significant number, with the transforaminal endoscopy, and I'll just show a few slides. So why I mentioned the drug-resistant tuberculosis is because that is one of the additional concerns that's coming up, and a lot of us are going to face in the coming few years. Dr. Basu already highlighted partially treated patients. And there is a, as per NIRT guidelines, there's 1 to 3% in primary cases itself, you see them, and then the partially tuberculosis treated cases, it is close to 12% in retreatment cases. So it could be a one monodrug resistant, it could be a INH and rifampicin resistant along with the resistance to one quinolones, and it could be a total drug resistant as well. That's a matter of concern. So again, reiterating what Dr. Basu said, tissue diagnosis is the key to avoid such difficult situations to manage. So I share a couple of cases how we can deploy the endoscopic or knowledge, and sometimes exactly endoscopy or sometimes an extended application. So this is a case of a 70-year-old gentleman who had an intractable mid-dorsal pain. There were no constitutional symptoms, and there was a recent history of pneumonia. Neurology was normal, but there was a severe disability due to the pain. Unfortunately, I could not pull out the MRI, but because I have treated that patient, so I picked up the record. So he had a D7-8 peridiscal edema in the MRI with bone marrow edema, and there was no soft tissue collection or pus, and no bone destruction was noticed. So for this gentleman, we decided to go ahead with do a transforaminal endoscopic biopsy and lavage. So because it was D7-8, the rib head comes in the view, so we docked the needle on the rib head first and then used that fluoroscopic guided reamer to create a space so that our cannula can get inside the disc. And then we advanced the obturator and the cannula inside the disc, and then we can take a sample, and this is a small video. We can do a lavage, we can take the sample, sufficient sample, and then it grew tuberculosis, and then we put him on ATT and he recovered. Now, similarly, we have another case of TB spine already on ATT when he came to us, and we can see there's a D9 intraosseous abscess, and there is a large prevertebral abscess from D5 to D11. A speaker couple of presentations before me mentioned that the indication for open surgery was large abscess. Now, see, just the size of abscess being large becomes an indication for open surgery. Here, you can see this is the size of the abscess, and which was extending from across about 6-7 levels. So we translated the knowledge of transforaminal endoscopy, deploying, as Dr. Basu showed, using a vertebroplasty needle under fluoroscopic guidance. Trajectory was similar to as we do for a extraforaminal approach or a paraspinal approach for endoscopic extraforaminal discectomy, like this. And we advance the needle step by step. We don't advance the sharp needle directly. Once we reach the edge of the disc, we can take out the sharp trocar and then use a blunt guide wire, which will puncture the wall of the abscess, and then advance the needle a little bit further under fluoroscopic guidance and then aspirate the abscess. So with this, we were able to remove at least 150-180 ml of pus through this particular approach. And you can see we can use the endoscopic thin 3 mm pituitary forceps to take out the tissue sample as well. So this is the abscess which was sent for histopathology, turned out to be normal, non-drug resistant. And we can also put a drain through the same needle, and that will drain the further pus, because as the patient is lying prone, then when you make him supine or turn side, so their postural drainage can happen. So you can keep that drain for a couple of days more to reduce the possibility of hematoma as well as drain more pus. So this is his post-op MRI. This is the post-op CT showing drain. And this is the follow-up final resolution MRI where complete pus has resolved. Another case of a disc infection at LS junction. You see the patient is in excruciating pain. So instead of doing this massive surgery, we chose to do a trans-iliac transforaminal decompression, getting a sample, doing it half an hour of lavage, thorough lavage, and this is the post-op follow-up MRI a few weeks later, and the patient becomes reasonably pain-free. Now the last case, 60 years old frail female, again the size of abscess, you can look at here, the abscess is extending right from L4-5 to up to L2-3. So she was very frail when she came to us, almost 40-42 kgs, lying in a stretcher, 60 years, diabetic, extreme back pain, bilateral thigh pain, and motor power was 4, but sensory hyposthesia was there. She was already on ATT for 2 months when she came to us after undergoing an ultrasound-guided biopsy. The size of the abscess was troubling her. So in this case, because of her frailty, we could not contemplate a massive open surgery. So just doing a transforaminal decompression, you can see the volume of pus coming out as the cannula goes inside. So initially you drain the pus through the disc, and then you can release the annular cuff to open up the annular window to the epidural space, and that will connect all the pus in the epidural space and allow the lavage to dilute the area and reduce the pollution of the infection. So she went on to recover completely. So to summarize, transforaminal endoscopy is an excellent tool in our armamentarium. Early sampling and lavage can help avoid a subsequent morbid procedure. MDR TB cases can be also detected pretty early and effectively managed. And as I showed, frail patients can also be managed even under local anesthesia. Thank you.